Let's face it, you're probably not a millionaire if you're watching this video. If you are and you're watching this video, I imagine you just have the time to watch whatever you want because you're a millionaire. Congrats. For the rest of us, we need to get some things out of our head so we can be productive. So this is my video on how I get things out of my head in the sense of I have all these ideas. I call them flights of fancy. And in ADHD, there's a term called feast or famine. You're either all in or all out. And when I get these things, it's so hard for me not to just keep chewing on them over and over again, but not making progress. Therefore, I can never get over that initial stage of thinking about it. So I've started to look at things when I want to take on a project or I want to do something, the correct program or place to funnel that ambition to get the idea out of my head. So maybe you're similar to me and you just want to find ways to put it out somewhere and what the right format might be. Now, these are the ones that work for me. I highly recommend them because they work for me. And emotionally, I feel they're the greatest ones because that's how I feel, because they're my feelings, not yours. You may feel differently and want to try something else. And to that, I say go for it. Do the one that feels right to you, but don't let it spin in your head over and over again. You got to give it like a pop in that little balloon to let it start leaking out or explode with this great idea or just this drizzle of, oh, okay, now you're not going to just spin out thinking about being a master sushi chef, or maybe you could be a lock-picking genius. And if you only start, you have such great potential. You probably do at something, but maybe it's not that. So don't waste your time thinking about it. So I'm going to give you an example of something, kind of break this video up into more general ones and then getting more and more niche into that idea of, hey, I have this and I want that. So starting with number one, a story. This can be multiple things. A story can be really anything with a beginning and end. Jokes can be stories. Narratives can be stories, like world building is stories, these sorts of ideas where you have something creative, passionate about you that you want to bring out into the world, and it's in a form of a story to be told. Unless you're productive in mediums such as paint, sculpture, and other forms of art, you're probably going to go to the one we can all do, which is writing. If you want to write something down, I recommend personally one of two places, your Notes app and Google Docs. And I try to keep it all on those. Don't try to find the perfect program to do it. Just open up Google Docs. It has a text box and start writing. If you really want it, you'll keep writing. And if you don't, you'll get the idea out of your head onto somewhere you can go look back at it later if it's truly as good as you believe it is, or if it's just finally out of your conscience so you can focus on whatever you want to focus on. So I recommend any story you have to tell, even if you think it's going to be a movie, if you think it's going to be this, you can't really edit it and improve it without putting it on paper. I have a 162-page Google Doc for my current D&D campaign. That's not to mention the other 100-page docs for my last campaigns. That's where all those ideas go. And towards the end, they start getting more and more blank until I pick up steam for the last half of the game because I'm excited that we're getting to the closing. A lot of building D&D for me is you got to get over the world building and then they can enjoy the campaign. But now most things kind of narratively answer themselves. I don't need to ask who the big bad guy is. They've been antagonizing this guy for like a year. So put it onto paper or put it into a Google Doc. I also recommend if it's a quick idea that you're having, like just a round of this would be good, this would be good, this like lists, just open up your Notes app and open the checklist up and just start typing on your list. And those are the two places where my brain just goes wild. If I open up my Notes app, I don't actually know what I'd be divulging here by doing so, but oh, look at that. Notes for my own tabletop RPG. I've done a video about this and I've started working on it on Google Docs. I had some like basic lines I thought would be great for a villain that I wanted to write for D&D, and they were just sitting in my head. We were doing some moving stuff, and I just need to get the ideas of who's going to help me move out onto paper. I have everything from that to how to embroider, exactly all the things you need to start that hobby because I wanted to start. And it's just those sorts of things. Just get them out on paper. So if you have a story in your head, knock it out, put it somewhere physically on paper or digitally on Google Docs or something like that. Number two, you have something that's like a business budget or vacation plan. You have a big expense or you have a big goal in mind. When you have a definitive goal and it's not really free range, this thing could be planned. I recommend Google Sheets. This is not this is just where I put my stuff. Excel works really anywhere. These just have functions that will help you make this easier, whether it be just seeing it out in a good listed format where then you're like, oh, but how much is that all going to cost? You can drag it all and sum it all out and find out your final totals. I have all sorts of Google Sheets. Our office here does our vacation days off Google Sheets. So if you have a definitive end in mind, don't go to documents first. I recommend going to Sheets because you can work your way back. You can add things, divide, multiply, set up special little functions. If you have something that is more complicated than a narrative story, anything from like, I want to build a custom PDF fillable character sheet, maybe don't start with trying to learn what PDF software will let you do that. Start with just running over to Google Sheets and just making your own homebrew little custom character sheet maker. Maybe just throw in all your last 100 bank, entries. It's going to be boring, but budgeting is never really fun unless you're weirdly into spreadsheets like I can be. But go through and put it down, because then you can create this trackable, fill-offable, markable, chartable way to put it. I forget what they used to call it, but a SMART goal, if I remember right. It was like specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and like time bound. If your goal fits in that category, then go ahead and do that. And by the way, for the record of all this video, I had this idea and I threw it onto a notes app and I wrote down the programs I use. And now I'm just coming up with places to pluck them from or examples from which I use these things. So if you have this idea in mind and you're on that stage, open up Google Sheets, get in there, start marking your stuff down. It's going to help you a lot. And the sooner you do it, you'll realize how good that program is for just getting things out. I think truly every brain needs somewhere to flush to. Otherwise, you're going to just go insane thinking about it all the time. At least if you're like me. Now, you've got a project you want to do. Let's go with something. Maybe you want to build something, but you're not a builder. You want to put together a room, but you're no decorator. You just need someplace to physically see. You're just not an imaginer. You need to see it. Or you need to design something simple. You're just like, I know I could fix my TV from wobbling if I had a 2-inch long cube, but how would I get one? What would it look like on the TV stand? I'm not sure, but if I could just see a rough of it, I probably could know. I use Tinkercad. Tinkercad is a free software that is a CAD design software, but I will tell you, if you've played Halo Forge mode or you've played Gary's mod, you'll pick up on it really quick and you'll be surprised how helpful this can be for you, especially if you own a 3D printer. It's amazing, amazing software, super free. And I've gone in there and gone as far as to decorate out full like shelving plans for something I want to build for my fiance's walk-in closet. And I was building it out in there, getting the lumber costs, figuring it all out. And I had somewhere to physically see these parts before I went and bought them at the store, which would save me a ton of time if I go to finish this build. In fact, I went to go buy a board for it, and answer to say, I found out I was wrong about a very important measurement early on in my progress, but I was able to fail a lot more on that program so that when I made that one failure in person, it was a lot cheaper than had I bought all the stuff and then made that realization way late. So with all that being said, you just know that you can go to these different places to find important things you need to find and put them into Tinkercad and be able to rough it out. So if you just want to build something that's not like a full-on crazy 3D design, that's what Blender's for, and that's free. But if you want the simple version of, I just need to know, how big does that really, like, I'm just going to put a block in here that's as tall as me, and then I'm going to put in the block of the thing I want to buy, the TV, so I can get just a rough visualization of how big it is. I just can't imagine it in reality. So you can do that. I even built a rough of her room so I could see how it would all fit together. So you're probably going to enjoy some B-roll of that here in the background. All right, so let's say you have an idea of something like maybe a little ebook or something small and simple. You just want to get, like, you're not a Photoshop expert, but you're going to need to put together somewhat of a paper poster, nicer looking cutout, some fun invitation to send to friends. You have a goal in mind, but it has maybe a story element to it or an objective element to it. It's just more creative than Docs or Sheets can do. I recommend Canva. Canva is a free software, and with a little bit of noodling, you can get most things done on there. Like when I need to make abbreviated character sheets so that I could run a small game before someone's wedding, I just made these own little fake character sheets on there. When I have an idea for a prototype of something I want to own in piece of paper, like print to play, I throw it together on Canva. I know a lot of people use Canva, and you can get pretty wild with it and do some pretty interesting things. But in my opinion, I just think you can do a lot of things there that you may want to use, I say Photoshop for, but I'm just trying to think of, people's mind jumps to Photoshop for, I want to do something that involves pictures, not words, is how I typically find people think, oh, just Photoshop it. When it's like, obviously, some of them are Illustrator and some of them are Adobe Ooh, what's the one for InDesign? I think it is. The one where you're gonna make like books or papers. So if you need the baby version of that, you just want an idea of like, man, I kind of want to sell a small. My fiance does ebooks for crochet when she wants to sell a design she's made. And then when I want to make something for D&D, but I want to make it feel special, I use Home Brewery, which is one. If you're a D&D player, it's super cool software. Home Brewery or Canva to make my basic little thing. Right now, I've got a Canva going together for like, how would a book look if I made a D&D type RPG system? I'd want to be able to print it out, and I know I can do A4 size paper on Canva, so I just throw it in there, and I know the dimensions will be right when I spit it out. So very interesting, very easy. You can get in there and get ideas out and be able to just quickly bring things in, and you never need to pay for Canva Premium because there's really no limit on how many items you can drag in from external sources. So if you want a graphic of a boot, then you just go find a boot on Google and drag it in there and you can print it. And as long as you're using this for personal use, for like, a little party, a little murder mystery invitation, a baby shower, you'll never have to worry about that. But if you just need to throw together something really quick, you'll look like you know what you're doing, especially when you just go grab a design that has the general vibe of what you want with the different text already set out in a good way. Snap your stuff in there, you're good to go. Now, like I said, these will get a little bit more niche to me after I'm done. So if you're this far in, maybe you're interested in things I'm interested in, maybe you're not, and that's fine. Video. What do you use video for? Well, I love editing, and it's not the hardest thing to do if you get a basic software. And I just think videos like this where you have something you're passionate about and you want to talk about, you just load up a camera app on the phone, boom, and you can record yourself. I know it's difficult to hear your own voice, but talk about the thing you're passionate about, put it in this little capsule called a video, and upload it to YouTube. It doesn't need to be for anyone else but you. You could just use this unlisted as a way to keep track of, hey, McAllister, today you had a great idea about X, and we want to talk about it because right now you don't have the time to get on Tinkercad, to get down on a Google Sheet, or maybe you just want to share this idea you've had. So maybe that's more what it's for. Video is for you want to share that format, but if you are personally, this could be your own journal if you won't write. So this could take the place of a lot of the story-oriented ones, but video is great, and it's not that hard to throw it together and make a video like this. If you notice, there's no music in the background. There's just you, I, and of course, I'm lucky to have a recording studio, but this would work the same way, and most video softwares have a noise removal option. Don't limit yourself by having expectations here when reality is here. You can't get to here without failing here. I would rather, sure as hell, fail here having spent $0 than fail here having spent $10,000 to get the perfect equipment only to fail at using it. You got to start here so you have some base knowledge. And so video can be a great place for you to do that. I will tell you, I regularly, when I want to learn something well, I don't go to the best made thumbnail on YouTube. I will go to the good one, I'll click on it, and I'll just see how it feels. I'll give it a couple seconds, and if I don't see it, I'll go down to Tom's video where there's like just the thumbnail of like, yesterday it was how to stock ponds. I just wanted to know how that worked. I was curious. Found an Illinois guy, and he just had pictures, and he just talked. He was like, here's the pond, here's how you stock it, here's the fish you don't put in here, and here's why. And I was like, thank you, Tom. I appreciate you. Anything you want to know, you can probably find on the internet. And so why not contribute to that and give your own spin on things? If you're a master player at a certain video game, tell us why. Tell us what you can do there and get that idea out of your head. If you think, man, I would like to be famous doing this, well, you won't get famous by thinking about it. We're not all hidden talents waiting to shine, to be honest, but we all have passions that people might enjoy hearing about. So don't hide that if you want to share it. Show it with the world, and maybe you can get some ideas out of your head. Now, this is the probably most particular one. Last two are more particular, and I'll go ahead and tease. The last one's you want to make a video game. I have recommendations on that. But Inkarnate if you want to do maps. If you're wanting to make maps and you've never made a map before, I think doing it on paper and with pencil is a lot of fun. You can just look up some very basic tutorials of how to build a map. The answer is it's not hard. Everyone had to start somewhere to just draw like, hey, go from here to the kitchen, and it's not that difficult. The goal is to give a vibe. If you want to build dungeon maps, build dungeon maps. Have a fun time. But Inkarnate for me works for regional to global, which is what I like to do. Wonderdraft is another amazing one. I think I've done a whole video about map making softwares on this channel. You can go check it out. But map making, don't limit yourself to thinking you need to be Mike Schley. Use the pre-generated stuff to get something onto paper, get the idea out of your head, and then you have the satisfaction of having done something versus thought about it. So Inkarnate, good for online browser use. Wonderdraft if you really think you're wanting to do worldwide maps really frequently, or you want to just build one that I think probably has one of the best set of tools. It's one I always go to. Wonderdraft is amazing. And if you want to build a map, that's where you go. And lastly, if you want to build a video game and you're not sure how, I have 2 suggestions on how to get that idea from here out. Number 1, find a big game that is, one that you enjoy, that you can play with friends, and just make it like in Minecraft. Like if you just thought, oh, I have this wonderful adventure story and I think I could run it. It'd be so cool. Get the starter ideas out in Minecraft. Like build the cave you were thinking about, build the thing, and get the story idea. Maybe it's enough to get that notion of I need to go to game development school out of your head, or I need to do this. If you really want to dedicate the time, by the way, of course, Unreal Engine 5 is a great way to get that out of your head. Go on there and start building it. If you're like me, you'll be dissuaded very quickly by the difficulty of the software. It could be easier. I don't know why I'm stimming and touching the wall. It could be something you could get into and learn. I'm not trying to say don't learn these things. Find a way to get it, off of you as fast as possible to move on. I'm just saying find a way to get it out of your head. And then if there's real passion there, you'll pursue and you'll go to the harder things. But when you have a video game in mind that you want to build, try to find a video game that has a more sandboxy feel or has a good modding scene, and see if you can't just build that game out of loose parts and play it. Like I've always wanted to play super realistic adventure games, and like I talked about being a peasant who picks up a weapon and has to go out and succeed. And you can do instead, load up a Skyrim mod, start with, in the middle of the woods with no weapons and turn the difficulty to high. You can get that same kind of experience without hours and hours of building your own gaming engine, only to find out that you don't know how to build one and it's not very fun. So don't disappoint yourself in those ways if you're not ready for it. If you have this dream idea for a video game and you're like, well, there's nothing out there that could be like it. A lot of games have a health. Does your game have a health bar? I bet you can find a game with a health bar. Does your game have this? Like, I doubt there's, I hate to say, a truly new idea out in your head. If it's anything tabletop, go open up Tabletop Simulator. See if you can't just import an image and play your game in there. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Get started. Find a way to experience your game in the light version. Think about that. Just get started and experience it. And maybe you find out this is truly for you and you want to go the path less traveled and really get into it. But don't limit yourself. These are some great tools out there: Canva, Sheets, Docs, Tinkercad, taking a video, pen and paper. I've missed out on that one. Really, any idea that I've said here can hit pen and paper except for taking a video. If you have an idea, all of these places, they could be solved on paper if you're a more tactile person. If you have ideas for goals in the future, I say Sheets, but don't forget a calendar, man. I know it seems lame, but as you grow older, you'll find out that what used to be fun on Christmas was getting a new game. And then the next thing you know, you're turning around and bragging to everyone about how you got a truly nonstick pan. Life moves with you, and it can move on without you. If you want to sit back and do things because you just refuse to let go of ideas and you swear this is the one that's going to make me great, get started on it in a way you can. I think all these tools are accessible and can help you turn some dream you've had into at least an observable something. So thank you all for watching.